We're excited because we're getting ready to celebrate Family Reading Night. We've been doing this annually for a few years now, and we're looking forward to the event. The event is comprised of a book tour. Every classroom has decorated their door to represent a great book, and so parents get to come in and enjoy that tour. And then they've got 2 sessions that we have. Our teachers have come together, and of course we've dressed the part of our books, and we'll be reading those books and having activities and a lot of fun to celebrate Family Reading Night. Again, we've got 18 sessions. We're going to have a packed house, and we're going to have a great time all as a family reading together. This is just one event of our weekly events. We have something every day. We're dressing up every day as book characters or dressing for our future, since reading is the key to our future, which we'll be doing tomorrow, and having a finale on Friday where we'll be doing a presentation of a book to the students, and just enjoying reading and having a great time here at Wilson Elementary.
We'll sit here in a little bit, and if you'll just sign in on these sheets, you can go around the other side.
Y'all have fun, girls.
And we hope y'all have a great time, and these are all the books, but they're on that yellow sheet. And they're in the first 2 parts.
Do we sign up, Miss?
You can sign in.
In the bowl. And then we'll have our winner.
Yeah.
Parent choice.
I think that's a really good idea.
Parent choice award.
We can still do that.
Well, we'll take a second.
So what? Have them write it on that.
Nice to see you.
Have them write it on the ticket. Is that what we're saying? Have them write it on the ticket.
I'm going to ask you a number in, okay?
Like they don't even have to write out the list. They like have to put 13.
Of course, I'll probably pick their own. Okay, Taylor, how are y'all? Get the sign in here. Here is our book tour information. Here's a card. Once you walk around, pick the 3 doors you like the best, and just put the ring numbers on them. You're going to drop it in here before you leave. These are the sessions you can choose from. And the first one starts at 6:25, and the second one starts at 7.
Hey, Lori. How are you?
Thank you.
Here's your test. So first is what? Guess how much I love you?
Yeah.
Is that the one that you like?
No.
Huh? The author.
All right.
Let me start reading.
But I've got the real story of the 3 little pigs. Have y'all heard of the true story of the 3 little pigs?
No.
And I know I'm wearing a pig costume, but just pretending the wolf. How many of y'all have heard the real story? Do you know what really happened? Those 3 little pigs, they were not telling the truth according to this Mr. Wolf. It says everybody knows the story of the 3
If you
little
haven't found a
pigs.
session to join yet, room 2 is open, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
3 little pigs. Has everyone heard of the 3 little pigs? Well, at least they think they do. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story. Because nobody has ever heard my story. Heard my side of the story. I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf. You can count me out. I don't know how this big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong. Maybe it's because of our diet. What do wolves like to eat? Anybody know what wolves like to eat?
Rabbits!
They like to eat meat. And inside of here, I see a hamburger inside. I see a bunny inside of this hamburger. Eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute folks, would probably think they were big and bad too.
What happened?
But like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar.
What happened?
This is the real story. Way back in Once Upon a Time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny. I had a terrible sneezing cold and I ran out of sugar. Poor Mr. Wolf. So I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. Who do you think his neighbors were? The pigs. Now this neighbor was a pig, and he wasn't too bright either. He had built his house out of straw. Can you believe it? Who in their right mind builds their house out of straw? Is straw very strong material? Is it, Noah?
No.
No, it can fall down very easily. So of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. I didn't want to just walk into someone else's house, so I called, little pig, are you in? No answer. I was just about to go home without a cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. That's when my nose started to itch. I felt a sneeze coming on. Well, I huffed and I snuffed. And what happens? And he sneezed a great sneeze. And what do you think happened?
No.
And you know what? The whole darn straw house fell down. And right in the middle of the pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He had been home the whole time. It seemed like a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner lying there in the straw, so I ate it up. Think of it as a big cheeseburger just laying there. If you saw a big, juicy cheeseburger and you were starving, would you pass it up? I don't know, I might take a bite. I was feeling a little bit better, but I still didn't have my cup of sugar. I went to the neighbor's house, the next neighbor's house. Who do you think that neighbor is?
Pig.
Another pig. This neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little bit smarter, but not much. He had built his house out of sticks. I rang the bell on the stick house. Nobody answered. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? He yelled back, go away, wolf. You can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs on my chinny chin. I had just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming out. I huffed and I snuffed and I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed a great sneeze. And you're not going to believe it, but this guy's house fell down just like his brother's. When the dust cleared, there was the second pig, dead as a doornail. Wolf's honor. So what do you think he's going to do with this little pig?
Yeah.
Do you think he's going to eat him up? Well, he says, now you don't want food to spoil if you leave it out in the open. So I did the only right thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full, but my cold was feeling a little better, and I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. So So I went to the next house. Whose house do you think he went to? The brick house. You know the story. So I went to the next house. This guy was the first and the second little big brothers. He must have had the brains of the family because he made his house out of bricks. And we know that bricks are very strong. I knocked on the brick house. No answer. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? And do you know what that rude little porker answered? Get out of here! Wolf, don't bother me again. Talk about impolite. He probably had a whole sack full of sugar, and he wouldn't give me even one little cup for my dear sweet old Granny's birthday cake. What a pig. I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake when I felt my cold coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I sneezed once again. Then the third little pig yelled, "And your old granny can sit on a pin." Look at that pig doesn't look very nice. You can see his eyes. Remember, this is the point of view from the wolf. This is what the character, the wolf, is saying what really happened. Now, I'm usually a pretty calm fellow, but when somebody talks about my granny like that, I go a little crazy. So when the cops drove up, of course I was trying to break down this pig's house. And the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and making a real scene. The rest, as they say, is history. And you can see that in the paper, they call him the Big Bad Wolf. The news reporters found out about the two pigs I had for dinner, and they figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting. So they jazzed up the story with all of that huff and puff and blow your house down, and they made me the Big Bad Wolf. That's it. The real story. I was framed. Where he's at? He's in jail. But maybe you could loan me a cup of sugar? Would you trust this big bad wolf if he came asking for a cup of sugar? All right.
Or whatever, but this is a fable. And by looking at the pictures, you can anybody tell me what the setting might be? Let's give it away here. Where do you think this story happens? Where does it take place?
China.
In Japan or China, right? Absolutely. You can tell by the... What do we hear? This looks more like a Chinese, doesn't it? Yeah. All right. Well, it's called The Empty Pot. And on the cover, you see a little boy. And he's got what?
A pot.
An empty pot. Now, look, I want to show you a few pictures. Now, I'm not going to show you that much, but right about here, all around him, he's surrounded by flowers, and he's got an empty pot. And look over here, and this is kind of reminds me of a Where's Waldo thing. Can you find Pig here? Oops, 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 oops. You see it?
No.
I'll point him out because it's kind of small. Now, what do you see around him?
A bunch of people with flowers.
A bunch of people with flowers. How do you think Ping is feeling?
Sad.
Very sad, right? I mean, everybody's got beautiful flowers except for him. So in this story, we're going to find out why. Why is his pot empty, and why are all the others much more beautiful than his? Okay, it's a short story, but we'll still have time to make an activity, so let's listen up here. A long time ago in China, there was a boy named Ping who loved flowers. Anything he planted burst into bloom. Up came flowers, bushes, and even big fruit trees, as if by magic. Everyone in the kingdom loved flowers too. They planted them everywhere, and the air smelled like perfume. The emperor loved birds and animals, but flowers most of all, and he tended his own garden every day. But the emperor was very old. He needed to choose a successor to the throne. What does that mean? he needed to choose a successor to the throne. The emperor is getting very old. There's a clue. So he needs a successor. What does that mean, Miss Stephanie?
Someone to replace him.
Someone to replace him. Now that's high school educated girl over there. All right. Now who would his successor be? And how would the emperor choose? Because the emperor loved flowers so much, he decided to let the flowers choose. The next day, a proclamation was, I haven't got it right. The next day, a proclamation was issued. All the children in the land were to come to the palace. There they would be given special flower seeds by the emperor. Whoever can show me their best in a year's time, he said, will succeed me to the throne. Now, how much time has he given them?
A year.
A year to get the beautiful flower. Whoever grows the most beautiful will succeed him to the throne. This news created great excitement throughout the land. Children from all over the country swarmed to the palace to get their flower seeds. All the parents wanted their children to be chosen. All the children wanted their children to be chosen emperor, and all the children hoped that they would be chosen too. When Ping received his seed from the emperor, he was the happiest child of all. He was sure he could grow the most beautiful flower. Ping filled the flower pot with rich soil. He planted the seed in it very carefully. He watered it every day. He couldn't wait to see it sprout, grow, and blossom into a beautiful flower. Now, he seems pretty confident, right? Because he loves flowers and he knows he's good at it. Picture. Okay, day after day passed, but nothing grew in his pot. Ping was very worried. He put new soil into a bigger pot. Then he transferred the seed into the rich black soil. Another 2 months he waited. Still nothing happened. What could be happening here? This is kind of a hard one to figure out. Any clues? Any ideas? Let's look a little further here. By and by, the whole year passed. A whole year has passed already. Spring came and all the children put on their best clothes to greet the emperor. They rushed to the palace with the beautiful flowers, eagerly hoping to be chosen. Ping was ashamed of his empty pot. He thought the other children would laugh at him because for once he couldn't get a flower to grow. For once. So apparently he was pretty skilled. His clever friend ran by. Not too much of a friend right here. Holding a great big plant. Ping, he said, you're not really going to the emperor with an empty pot, are you? Couldn't you grow a great big flower like mine? I've grown lots of flowers better than yours, Ping said. It's just this seed that won't grow. Ping's father overheard this and said, you did your best, and your best is good enough to present to the emperor. Holding the empty pot in his hands, Ping went straight away to the palace. By himself. I thought he would be accompanied with a dad, but I guess not. The emperor was looking at the flowers slowly, one by one. How beautiful all the flowers were. But the emperor was frowning. Everybody know what that means? Frown? What's a frown?
Sad.
Upside down smile, right? So the emperor was frowning and did not say a word. Finally, he came to Ping. Ping hung his head in shame, expecting to be punished. The emperor asked him, why did you bring an empty pot? Ping started to cry and replied, I planted the seed you gave me and I watered it every day, but it didn't sprout. I put it in a better pot with better soil, but still it didn't sprout. I tended it all year long, but nothing grew. So today I had to bring an empty pot without a flower. It was the best I could do. When the emperor heard these words, a smile slowly spread over his face, and he put his arms around Ping. Then he exclaimed to one and all, I have found him. I have found the one person worthy of being emperor. Where you got the seeds from, I do not know. For the seeds I gave you all have been cooked. So it was impossible for any of them to grow. I admire Ping's great courage to appear before me with the empty truth. And now I reward him with my entire kingdom and make him emperor of all the land. Okay, now, tell me a little bit about him. What about the other children? How did they all show up with beautiful pots of flowers? They had beautiful flowers. But the seeds were all the ones that the emperor passed out were cooked, and they were not supposed to grow. So how did the other ones get their seeds to grow?
Oh, they changed them.
They bought new seeds, right? They could have gone to buy the plants, the flowers. So they actually cheated, right? They cheated and they were not honest. But Ping was very honest, truthful, and he gets rewarded now. Get that? He gets rewarded because he was truthful, he was honest, and that is exactly what the emperor was looking for. Someone worthy of being the emperor. That cool? Applaud? All right. Now, even though it's an empty pot, we thought about having you all just do a little empty pot. We said, oh, it's about a pot with beautiful flowers, so why not make it a little prettier? And we've got some really neat activity for you all to do. It's not edible. You may not eat it. So, and my assistant and that girl over there are going to help us assist this. We did this in a real big rush. The kids that were here a while ago made a much prettier one. We kind of were limited in time. So we'll pass some of these out with a little assistant. We searched for these from Harlingen to Mission.
You want pink?
And we found them.
There's pink with pink ribbon. Pretty girls. You want a pink one or you want a yellow one? Pink one, okay. I'm moving, Robert. I'm moving.
And that's the truth, guys. I live in Mission. She lives in Harlingen, and we hunted every store down to try to find these little pots. Let's see. Did I skip anyone?
You want this one, the yellow one? Okay. Good. What color's true?
All right. All right, a little idea as to how we did it. You're going to be receiving a bag with ribbon. You're going to have some beads and a flower, of course. And underneath it, we're going to be giving you some clay so you can pretty much plant your flower in it. And then you can put the moss around it and decorate it any way that you wish. As far as we have some colored glue where you can put some little sparkles. And we'll be passing all that out in a
The
minute.
yellow one? This one?
That's it.
You want the yellow with purple or the yellow with this one? You want this one? Which one do you want? I'm moving. Good boy.
That's it.
You want me to cut that, please?
This won't dry that quick, James. Sandra, pull it. It won't dry that quickly.
Yes, it is, okay. What color?
Wait a moment.
Yellow, pink. You want a pink one with pink, girls? Look at that one. There's yellow and pink. There's yellow and pink spots. Oh, you want this little pretty flower? Can I take that flower? Because this is also cute.
Did you get yours already?
Ah, but he doesn't want pink for girls. You'll take that one, Bubba? Okay.
Now, I did it that way once and I got a little messy. If you don't want to get too messy, you can also put the glue around the rim and then put the ribbon around it. Either way works. The glue will dry no matter what there.
It is.
Wrap it around the top or, I mean, you want to wrap it around the bottom, you can do it any way you like.
Whichever one that you want to else.
You got what you need, sweetheart? Do you need some glue?
Oh, this one's never.
You don't have any glue.
Flowers. That one? There we go, that's good. They're all cute.
Okay, and then we also have a little bit of a glitter glue that I put some on this, but if you do that, you might want to